I would like to know why there aren't any overweight individuals in Colorado. This video will answer that mystery. It is based on a very interesting book that hasn't been released yet, but by the time you watch it, it's probably already out. I'll include a link below. In this video, we'll explore the mystery of why there aren't any fat people in Colorado. Could it be that they spend all day exercising? Could it be that they have more money to spend on healthful foods? The author was perplexed by this question for a while. He started by identifying the states with the highest rates of obesity and discovered an intriguing link between higher proportions of Latinos and Black Americans. And he also examined the American Indian reservations. All of that is fascinating, but what makes that fascinating is what makes it special. One such characteristic has to do with melanin, a pigment found on human skin that acts as a natural sunblock. In other words, the darker your skin, the more protection it provides against UV radiation. What does UV radiation have to do with obesity? Well, it interacts with your skin to produce vitamin D, which is true. When you look at vitamin D levels, you'll notice that some populations have lower than average levels. That's fascinating, but are there any more studies supporting the link between vitamin D insufficiency and obesity? In fact, there is a direct relationship. I'll include the paper below, between vitamin D and the oxidation of the fat-burning process in your adipose tissue. Specifically, vitamin D increases the expression of fat being released from your fat cells. I'm not sure if this is a recent discovery, or if it has been known for a while, but no one has really noticed it. Additionally, vitamin D and insulin are closely related. In other words, low vitamin D levels can contribute to insulin resistance, while adequate vitamin D levels can significantly improve insulin sensitivity, because one of insulin's primary functions is to store fat. This is somewhat related to the fact that during the winter, when we don't get enough sunlight or vitamin D, we store more fat. In the spring and summer, however, people tend to lose more weight as they emerge from hibernation. Could this be related to vitamin D? I believe it is. So pregnant women who have low vitamin D levels may have children who are low in vitamin D later in life. When they grow up, they typically become more overweight and obese. Additionally, being overweight generally tends to dilute vitamin D, so the more weight you gain, the more vitamin D you'll need because a large portion of this vitamin is absorbed in your fat cells. As a result, there is a strong correlation between vitamin D and your fat cells. Even looking at the risk factor for metabolic syndrome, well, there's always a vitamin D deficiency. I had no idea what metabolic syndrome was until I read this book. The combination of high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and belly fat causes all of these symptoms, including insulin resistance, which is linked to low vitamin D levels. This may also help to explain why taking vitamin D tends to lower blood pressure in people with high blood pressure. Now let's return to the geographic location of the United States. States with a higher elderly population tend to have more overweight people. We also know that skin age affects how well vitamin D is absorbed, so that's another small piece of the puzzle that fits this theory. Finally, if you look at obesity trends, there's a significant spike in obesity in the United States that increases approximately around 1980. The author also makes the intriguing remark that in the early 1980s, experts in science began advising people to avoid the sun and use sunscreen, as both of these acts will prevent you from getting vitamin D. I was born in 1965 and went to school in the 1970s, so I don't remember seeing many overweight people there. We spent a lot of time outside and weren't afraid of the sun, but we also consumed a lot of sugar and carbohydrates. However, I do remember that in the 1980s and 1990s, you started seeing an increasing number of overweight people. Could this be related to vitamin D? Well, Colorado is the highest elevation state in the Union, so you'll get a lot more UV radiation, and vitamin D, the expression of how you burn fat, will be significantly impacted if you were born in Colorado, live there, and have chronic exposure to more sun and vitamin D. The key word here is chronic exposure. which refers to how long someone is exposed to the sun or gets vitamin D, and in relation to what happens to the metabolism. You will get 3 to 5 times more exposure if you're higher up closer to the sun than if you're even lying on the beach at sea level. Just as an additional side note, I worked with a patient who had a huge belly. Every time he traveled to Florida and got a lot of sun, I swear, his belly looked flat. He didn't alter his diet either. I thought that was amazing, but you also have the latitude where the farther you are from the equator, the less UV radiation you will receive. What about in the Appalachian Mountains? The intriguing thing about these people living in the Appalachian Mountains is that they're not necessarily living on the peak. Rather, they're living in the valleys, which is definitely not as high. Additionally, there's a lot of shadowing of these mountains, so they're living in the shadows of the mountains, which would not give them more vitamin D, even though vitamin D affects your sleep cycles. White people are the group that has the highest obesity rate, but the least amount of melanin. When you take vitamin D for jet lag, for example, it's one of the best treatments because it helps to kind of reset the circadian rhythm. If you're deficient in vitamin D, you won't get enough of it. And if you have sleep apnea, which is usually a vitamin D deficiency, your sleep cycles won't be as good. The lack of vitamin D causes those who have sleep apnea to generally sleep better and snore less. Additionally, there is a link between vitamin D and cortisol and stress. Generally speaking, cortisol stress lowers vitamin D, but taking vitamin D also helps lower cortisol, a stress hormone that can also cause weight gain. Additionally, cortisol stress hormone can cause insulin resistance, so if a person is vitamin D deficient and experiences more inflammation, inflammation can also directly cause insulin resistance, which is the reason behind obesity. Furthermore, when you look into the data regarding how vitamin D affects your mitochondria, you will see that this is just one of many mysteries that this author discusses. If you'd like to read the book, I'll put the link below. Insufficient vitamin D causes oxidative stress, which impairs the mitochondria's ability to function as the energy factory that powers your metabolism. Another factor contributing to Colorado's low obesity rates is its strong sense of community and social support networks. Studies have shown that social connections and a sense of belonging can have a significant impact on health and wellness outcomes. In Colorado, communities often come together to participate in group fitness activities, sports leagues, and outdoor events, fostering a sense of camaraderie and accountability among residents striving to lead healthy lifestyles. However, it's essential to recognize that the absence of obesity in Colorado is not solely attributed to lifestyle factors. Socioeconomic factors, access to health care, and environmental influences also play significant roles in shaping health outcomes. While Colorado may have a healthier environment compared to other states, disparities still exist within its population, with certain demographic groups facing higher rates of obesity and related health issues. In conclusion, the question of why there are no fat people in Colorado is multifaceted and cannot be attributed to a single factor. A combination of an active lifestyle, access to nutritious foods, environmental factors, and a strong sense of community all contribute to the state's overall health and wellness. By understanding the unique factors that contribute to Colorado's low obesity rates, we can learn valuable lessons about promoting health and well-being in our own communities. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to Health Angle Solutions for more content on health, fitness, and wellness. Let's work together to build healthier communities one step at a time.